infection, but also caused by the air pollution. My words are later, after 2 months, the WHO also and recently accepting that the COVID-19 infection may also takes place by aerosols or air pollution. So you might have also recently gone through the media, whether the print media or the social media or the news, that the air pollution or aerosols may also responsible. We cannot deny that the infection is not entirely due to the only droplet infection. First, let me talk about what is the small introduction about the SARS-CoV-2. Then I will go for what is the pathophysiology of the SARS-CoV-2. Then I am coming to main topic, that is the impact of the air pollution. On this air pollution, I will mainly focus on the PM particles and also NO2, and also future after the completion of after the future COVID, what are the scientists has to do it? How to minimize this infections, and what are the scientists? What are the steps to be taken to prevent or to minimize the COVID infection? Not only the COVID infection, other pathogens also, and we can also there's a small focus also given on the redesigning of the buildings in the future. As all of we belongs to the science community, that everybody must be knowing that the SARS-CoV-2, that is the severe acute respiratory syndrome 2, that why we are calling it as 2, it is earlier another virus was there which occurred in the 2002, that was SARS-CoV only. Now we are calling it as SARS-CoV-2, which appeared in the December 9, 2019, hence it was COVID-19. It is a small tiny particle which is much less than the earlier virus, approximately 65 to 125 nanometer in size, and contain RNA as the genetic material. The genetic material of this SARS-CoV-2 is much longer when compared to the earlier SARS or MERS, whatever it may be. That is the reason why the impact of the severity of the infection is much more higher when compared to the earlier viruses. The genome, of course, it is packed in a small capsid, and that capsid mainly contain again the glycoprotein and some envelope protein. Certain viruses which of the SARS-CoV-2 also contain the hemoagglutinin esterase proteins also, which also affect on certain blood parameter also. But here the SARS-CoV-2 do not contain such type of receptors on its capsid, hence it is not this much effective in terms of other MERS. For example, MERS caused almost all 30% mortality, whereas the SARS-CoV-2 almost all we are witnessing almost all the mortality rate is almost all in between 1.1 to 2 only. So here the glycoprotein is the main determinant protein, that is which form the domain for the attachment of the host cell actually. There are certain alpha, beta, some other viruses are also present, but there are, once again, people are knowing that we are already surrounded by a variety of, not variety, thousands of pathogens around our body. Every day we are encountering it also. But our body has a variety of defense system, like first line defense, second line defense, and third line defense, which prevents the entry of such type of pathogens in our body. As a result, we are protected from such type of virus pathogens, and including the SARS-CoV-2. And again, it is this SARS-CoV-2 was first appeared in the Wuhan seafood market for the first time, when the people continuously nearly 50,000 people were died or infected in the Wuhan laboratory. The people who are coming into the market or maybe are taking as a food, either contaminated food or maybe contaminated people. So then the China government directly informed to the Wuhan WHO that regarding this unknown etiology. As a result, the WHO declared it as a pandemic because it is the etiology was not known, still not known, not known. I feel it is still not known. Because whatever the mechanism and whatever the rules and whatever the preventive measures that we are taking today is mainly based on the earlier viruses, that is a MERS as well as SARS-CoV only, not entirely SARS-CoV-2 mechanism. Still, we are not unknown because you can see in the portal of the WHO that nothing is known. There is no medicine so far. Whatever the claims are being taken. The claims are they are taking that the vaccine or medicine, whatever are they taking, it is confirmed or authenticated by the WHO. So whatever we are taking or whatever the doctors are suggesting, that it is mainly based on the earlier viruses, that is the SARS-CoV or as MERS only. It is not entirely the correct one also. So to identify any type of the pandemic or epidemic, it is essential to find out the source actually. For the source, how it has been originated, how it is transmitting. So for that, the source of the origin source is for this actually SARS-CoV-2 is generally we are believing it now it has, that is a bats. Earlier, some people believe that it's camels are the zoonotic species, or bats, or palm civets, etc., or raccoon dogs. But based on the genomic analysis and the transcription analysis and the advanced technology, now that scientists have confirmed that the bats are the main sources, origin sources. Whether do not know whether it has why it has coming and what is why it has why the bats are so serving as a reservoirs. Maybe we are destroying the forest. Maybe we are killing them. We are occupying their habitat. Number of such reasons are there. There is another big topic on the biodiversity, and when we will get the opportunity, definitely we'll speak it on. So now, why this? How this? The WHO or CDC, whatever the government or some ICM or whatever we are speaking, everybody is believing that this SARS-CoV-2 is mainly caused by the droplet infection, not by the aerosols. Friends, I am talking about today. When a person is talking or sneezing or coughing, he releases or he generates a lot of variety of droplets. The size of the droplet may be different. The size, according to the gravitational force of that particular droplet, the heavy droplet, which is more than 100 micron, may fall in the near distance. The size which is much lesser than, that is 5 micron or maybe even less, they may travel sometime in the air also. What I believe, I have conducted an experiment, an online survey in the month of April, and I have published a paper in one from the various sources throughout the world, actually, not from the only India, not from the only particular area of region, because the online sources is, the online sources is, it is open for everyone. So I have collected the information from the Harvard University, some other universities also, and now because I am also residing in the particular area where it is purely industrial area. So even you can observe that why the people who are living in the industrial cities, whether the Bombay or Italians or wherever the Americans, wherever they only the people who are living in the industrial cities are suffering or affected by the SARS-CoV-2 more than the people who are living in the village. Have you ever thought in such a way or in such a direction? I have, based on this issue, I have conducted an online survey also, and come to know that the particles, the droplets, which when we are talking or when we are sneezing or when we are coughing, they are traveling. They are traveling for certain distance and may be able to viable for hours together and carry from one place to another place with some PM particles. That is the main reason why that's what I'm telling. So that in such conditions, your masks or social distance may not serve as a preventive measure. So that is the reason. So the WHO laid down earlier that it is a purely droplet infection, and maintaining of the 6 feet distance may prevent this disease. But it is not true. That is the reason why the big celebrities are also encountered with this disease, because they have maintained the social distance. They have used the very costly and hygienic ventilatory, the sanitization. Still they have infected. How and why? It is. I still believe that it is mainly because of the aerosols. The aerosols, which are less than the 5 microns, may travel from far distance, and PM particles may act as a vehicle or a carrier for long distance, and may infect the healthy people. So when they infect into the healthy people, mainly as usual, again it is a big topic, how our immune system may attack or serve it as our lung cells contain two type of cells actually, pneumatocytes 1 and pneumatocytes 2. They mainly enter into the pneumatocytes 2, and taking it is being as and perform and combined with the help of that is a glycoprotein, and combined with the AC2 receptor, that is acetylcholinesterase 2 receptor, which is the same receptor which also used as a vasopressin and osmoregulating condition. So that with that, when combined with the that domain, it takes the host gene mechanism into its custody. With the help of reverse transcription, it produces a number of copies and replicates itself, and as a result, several copies of SARS-CoV-2 produced in the pneumatocytes, 2 pneumatocytes. The presence of this viral particles, almost all the virals of the presence of this viral particles, number of particles, are what happened. The blood or vasopressin, whatever I'm telling, the blood releases a number of interleukins, cytokine storm. That is why the word generally, the doctors generally use it as a cytokine storm. But it is a one type of systematic inflammatory response. It is a one type of automatic reflection by the immune system to produce against the any type of pathogens. The same mechanism was happened in the SARS-CoV-2 on common flu also. The same mechanism actually involved. Whenever such type of infection there in the alveoli cells, that is the pneumatocytes 2, the lung cells produce one type of to fight with those pathogens. Our lung cells produce variety, that is cytokine storm. It's mainly consists of the interleukin 2 or TFL or a number of such type of antibodies produced. As a result, a lot of fluid generally accumulate in the alveolar cells, and the persons may suffer with the deep difficulty in the breathing, or the such type of person will get the COVID testing positive. So he may feel the fever, cough, and the gastrointestinal symptoms, and typical viral respiratory tract infection, including cough, sore throat, and nasal congestion, and even conjunctivitis. Doctors are now believing that he may get the conjunctivitis also. Anyway, this is the one inside mechanism. It is a big topic again. And why it was happened? What I believe that this aerosols or air particles, industrial particles, or that is especially the PM5 and NO2, they are acting as a carrier, or they are acting as a vehicles to carry this virus, because the PM2 particles is almost more than 150 micron size. The size of the PM particle is much more higher or bigger than this SARS-CoV-2. The size of the SARS-CoV-2 is only 65 to 120 nanometer only, whereas PM particle is 250 nanometers. So it is acting as a mechanism. People are we are well known that air pollution itself is a big cause for the breathing or lung cancer. It is also a breathing disorder. It causes a lot of variety of when such type of comorbidity, that is a lung disease or breathing problems, happens in the industrial areas or high population density people, where our motor vehicle zone NO2 is mainly the culprit of the product of the NO2. Product of the NO2 is it is a mainly one. So such type of pollutants which are more in the air, they act as a vehicles and carry this SARS-CoV-2 to the long distances and infect the healthy people. When such type of people infected to the healthy people, there is a big interaction happens between the viral proteins, that is a viral spike proteins that is called as, which is present in the glycoprotein of the capsid, and both the AC2 as well as the glycoprotein. The big interaction is there. The binding and entry of both SARS-CoV-2 and that is a receptor binding domain that is called as, it is a subunit of present in the spike of the glycoprotein. The ectodomain of the AC2 present. As a result, if immunity is strong or your defense mechanism is much more stronger, then the virus cannot penetrate into your lung cells. But that is what happened. If your immunity is not strong or less, then the virus is successfully enter into the pneumatocytes too and produce the same mechanism what I have told earlier. So in such condition, the person may get the positive, person will get some diseases. That is a severe respiratory, the severe acute respiratory syndrome too. The earlier one is called as only severe acute respiratory syndrome, CO. Now we are calling it 2 because the earlier virus, the virus which was appeared in this 2002 was also same type 1. But here, because of the long RNA, the severity is much more than the earlier one. But here again, I'm discussing one thing. The earlier virus is much more lethal than the present virus, because though it is able to infect a variety of the lot of people around the world, more than 50 lakhs or maybe 50,000 deaths in India. So, but still, the lethargy or the mortality rate is much more less than the earlier virus, because of that. Maybe the analysis still is going on. That is a long RNA chain. That is one reason. Another one is that is NO2. The NO2 is one of the most common and widespread air pollutants, which is a product of derived from the motor vehicles. It is a free radical, and also itself is a big pollutant, causes the oxidative stress and breathing problem in the human. When such type of these two pollutants act together as a comorbidity, and cause the breathing problem into the people. So that is the reason. One reason may be what the scientists believe from the Harvard University and Stanford University, that I have gone through the literature. I have not conducted any such type of experiments, but whatever the literature I have gone through it is clearly mentioning that wherever the pollution was high, the severity of the infection, the severity of the mortality was much more higher than the places where the pollution was less. So even I am the place where I am living in the particular area, it is totally industrial area, and the people here also is, when compared to other regions, here the patients are much more higher than other places. So in such condition, how we can minimize such type of this pollution. So whatever the post, we are going to post COVID-19 era and post COVID-19 era. Whatever we have witnessed so far, whenever the system has come, the crisis has come, the man has come with a more problem. Every crisis of the past has a catalyst for the humanity to emerge better and stronger. Even we try to survive through this COVID-19 crisis, the foundations for the healthier and sustainable futures are getting built now. Already started, in fact. One of my 2 months back only, my friends, one of my neighbors, of course, who are working in the industrial area, they already started working on certain germicidal ultraviolet bulbs, which suppose if you are entering into the building or hospital or in a school or in an office, you will have, before, instead of going for the sanitization, you have to just keep your hands in front of that germicidal ultraviolet lamp. Automatically your hands will be free from any such type of germs. Such type of innovations have already been started. The civil engineers already started the redesigning of the buildings. How to what are the which type of the air filters to be used, and there are no smart construction of the smart buildings. There is more digitalization in the systems without touching. So such type of the innovations are going to come very soon to minimize this air pollution. That is another one where all the biology students must be using that is air purifier, the HEPA filters, which we generally to the laminar flow in the laboratories in microbiology and biotechnology. So such type of filters may come into the market very soon to use it in the offices or schools or in our home also, to minimize this type of aerosol pollution and to minimize the microbial pathogens. And even certain companies already started the antiviral clothing also. You might have seen in the Amitabh Bachchan has given already advertisement that the Grado, you might have seen that the Grado launches antiviral fabrics with the neotech technology. They are claiming that this type of viruses can prevent the entry of the pathogens, especially the bacteria and the viruses. So such type of innovations definitely can minimize the transmission rate as well as the infection rate in the future. So as I told earlier, whenever the crisis has come, the man has emerged with the better solutions and stronger. What the Darwin also told the same: survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. If you do not survive, if you want to fit in this environment, the ever-changing the climate, you will have to develop certain superiority, certain type of innovations, certain type of adaptations to survive in this world. Then only you can survive, otherwise you will perish. So finally, without taking much time, I believe, to conclude my talk, I firmly believe that a link is existing between the SARS-CoV-2 infection with air pollution and the PM particles especially are the more dangerous to carry as a vehicle of this COVID infection. And the highest COVID-19 cases were because recorded in the most polluted regions with twofold mortality when compared to other regions. The chronic exposure to the PM2.5, that is a PM particulate matter pollutants, causes more expression of alveolar AC2 receptor along with the SARS-CoV-2, which weaken the host defenses, immune defenses. That may be one reason why the infection is most severe in the polluted areas. Toxic environment, especially in the industrial and high density population. And such studies definitely influence urban planning, future redesigning of the buildings, homes, offices, and the implementation of such new innovative ideas like HEPA filters and that I told you that germicidal lamps, etc., will definitely minimize the transmission rate and infection rates. And this outcome of my study definitely suggests the use of the modern technology to minimize the air pollution and ambient particulate matter pollution. So once again, I am thankful to Dr. Shamim Bonde and the entire team. Of course, Dr. Ashwini Dubey must be here also, Dr. Ratnakar, and Sridevi Madam is also there. I think I have seen her in the participant list. Thank you for listening. Thank you for bearing me. And once again, I'm thankful to Dr. Shamim Bonde and team and the entire audience for giving me this opportunity.